Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for tuning in today. I'm Julia Polston. I'm the manager of talent development at ICI. And today I am honored to meet with John Susong. He is the product resource manager for the Northeast region for Rinker Materials. Thanks so much for joining me today, John.
Thank you.
If you want to go ahead and tell everyone how long you've been with Rinker Materials and a little bit about your position, that would be great.
Yeah, be glad to. I've been with Rinker Materials 22 years, and role is the product resource manager for the Northeast. So I cover Indiana, Ohio, Kentucky, and West Virginia, and I also have responsibility for Maryland, Delaware, and Virginia. I've got a person who works for me out east, Amy Connerton, lives outside of Washington, D.C., helps to cover those three states for me out there.
Oh, so you cover a bigger area than I thought.
I travel a little bit until the pandemic, and so now my wings have been clipped. So yeah.
Oh man, that's a bummer. Well, Rinker Materials, that's obviously the material side of construction, but
Right.
can tell everyone more about Rinker Materials, what they specialize in, all things Rinker Materials.
Yeah. So we have about 30 concrete pipe plants across the United States, and we make reinforced concrete pipe, elliptical pipe, box culverts, manholes, and special precast items like wing walls and head walls. So we solve drainage problems for engineers and state agencies. Also build some sanitary sewer pipe in some of our markets.
Yeah, I feel like with highway construction, people actually will like drive by and see people out there working and building roads and bridges, but I feel like a lot of people don't think of the material side of construction.
Yeah.
So I think that is a unique part of our industry because obviously contractors and other people need Rinker Materials to get product to the job site so they can build what they need to build.
Right. Yeah. And the fascinating thing about our business is we produce concrete pipe that should go on the ground and last over 100 years. So the ability to be able to see what we do only lasts on the ground for a short period of time. The contractor installs it, and then hopefully it doesn't have to be messed with about another 100 years or more.
Oh, that I did not know that. I know obviously you want to produce stuff for it to last long, but I didn't realize it was that long. That's really cool. How did you get into the material side of highway construction and what
Yeah.
there?
Yeah. So I worked for Butler Fairman and Cypher Engineers for a period of years, and then I got interested in the manufacturing side a little bit and had an opportunity to come on board Rinker Materials to do technical promotion. So I started off doing that, and then I worked into a sales role and a sales manager's role, and then up to about 2 years ago, I was the general manager of our three plants here in Indiana, responsible for operations and sales. But I was pretty impressed with when I first went into interview with the company, Tom Hartley, who was my boss at the time, who's now the vice president of sales and marketing for the company, and Ron Metzger. Just impressed with their vision of what our company did, what we supplied in order to support the highway, residential, industrial markets. So that's what got me excited on coming on board and getting involved in this business.
Can you think of anything that about your job that's your favorite at Rinker Materials?
Yes, I think just working in teams, working with people, being involved in the whole process, whether it's at the very beginning of a job when we're working with a design engineer to figure out how to apply our product, get the right specifications, get it in the right form where they can go out and bid the job, and then be built and delivered and installed, and then you can see a project that wasn't there before, and now you were a part of that whole process. So I think that's the thing that I get a lot of satisfaction from.
I love that. So I want to learn a little bit more about you. I know you said that you were at a prior firm before you got to Rinker Materials, but
Right.
tell us all about your career journey from very start to where you got to where you are today.
Okay. Well, I'm going to just go back a little farther. Growing up, my uncles farmed, and so Chuck and Joe Ford allowed my brothers and I to kind of be very involved in, running at an early age and doing a lot of responsibilities. I had a paper route, so I had to deal with people growing up, delivering 100 papers and going to collect the money from it. Mowed yards, just did a lot of things. So I think those things helped. I was a 10-year 4-H member, did public speaking in 4-H.
Oh, wow.
And so all those different things I think kind of helped to me. So then I went to Purdue, studied civil engineering. And then the fun thing was being able to get some summer internships. I worked for Alton Witzig Engineer one summer. I worked for the city of Noblesville another summer, helped them out. And Tim Barr, I met him the summer previous doing some inspection for Noblesville on an asphalt paving job, and Tim helped me to get a job at Noblesville for a summer internship. And then at St. Joe's Church here in Lebanon, where I go to church at, John Brand with Butler, Fairman, and Cypher got me on there, did an internship for a couple of years, and then also went to work for them right out of Purdue. So those types of jobs, that whole experience, I think just kind of really helped to get me to where I'm at now today. So it was some really good experience, so I could kind of see what I wanted to do when I got out of school.
No, I love that you mentioned all the internships that you had. As a product resource manager for the Northeast region, explain to us what your typical day to day is like. I know with COVID, that's probably kind of changed stuff up for you as it has with everybody, but not COVID related. What is the typical day like?
Yeah, so our role in what I'm doing is supporting our plants when it comes to application of our products, getting them on the plans and specifications so that a project can be built and it can solve a need of a designer or an agency building a road to drainage or a sanitary sewer. So those are the types of things that I'm doing. We're pretty involved when it comes to different national associations like with ASHTO. And then we're also involved legislatively to kind of let our legislators know the importance of investing in infrastructure. So the Build Indiana Council been involved with Vicki Kitchen for a number of years, and then with Richard with ICI, and just being a part of that team to help to support and be an advocate. We try to do some plant tours, whether it's engineers at the plants, cities, the DOTs at the different plants we have across the country, and then that we also have state legislatures come in and then even the U.S. representatives also out of Congress. So it's just important just to constantly kind of be talking about that so that they're aware of the need of what we need to do, especially here in Indiana. We're doing a great job on it to continue to build good roads and to invest in the infrastructure so we have a good economy.
I know you said growing up, you grew up on a farm and you always were working, which helped prepare you for your adult life. But was there ever a time that you can think back when you were younger when you knew you wanted to work in highway construction?
Well, so I grew up in the city of Lebanon, but my uncle's farmed out by Thorntown. So that's kind of that we always wanted to be at the farm during the week. So yes, one example, I guess I'll throw this. I can remember a time my brothers and I were building a little dam off of this, my grandmother's farm over by Sugar Creek had a spring coming out the side of the hill of the house. And so we would go down there and take our toys and go down there and build little dams and see how tall we could build it before we'd have a dam failure. So it was fun to do that. And I think just, we helped to do a lot of repairs on the farm, being out, doing a lot of construction type things. I think just that kind of just intuitively kind of got me interested in more of a hands-on application side.
No, that's great. You chose Purdue. I unfortunately am not. That's where I'm kind of on the outside in our industry because I'm not a Purdue grad. So
That's all right. That's all right.
Can you think of working in this industry, whether that was now with Rinker materials or where you were before? Can you think of what is or what has been the most rewarding part of your job in working in this industry?
Yeah, I think I go back to just working on a project and seeing at the very initial stages of it, working through the whole process in order to get it on the plans and the specs and to get it bid out and to work with the contractor to get it built at our plants and delivered on time and to work through anything that we've got to work through to make that happen. So I think that's the biggest thing. I think the relationships within the whole industry as a whole, being involved with ICI has been a big deal for us. It's been very good for me to get to know a lot of different folks and a good networking opportunity. And
we appreciate Rinker Materials as well and you being involved. What would you say is the number one skill set that you need to have in order to succeed in your role at Rinker Materials?
I'd say teamwork. It just takes all of us to do these different projects, and it's just not one person. It's a variety of folks, whether it's an agency, a utility, getting some things moved in order to get the job built, suppliers, safety when it comes to traffic control. There's just a variety of people that have to be involved in order to get something built. So I think it's the enjoyment of always having something new and a new challenge and working with different people every day.
Thinking back to your younger self, is there any advice that you can think of that you would have given your younger self that would have helped you in your adult life?
Yeah, I think a few things. I had some mentors kind of starting off in my career. And I think once you kind of get a little bit more comfortable, you kind of let that slip a little bit. I wished I would have maintained that a little bit more. It's always
Mhm.
good to be able to talk through things as the different issues kind of pop up. I think the other thing too is I've met a lot of people, and sometimes the people I met 22 years ago has kind of slipped off. I wish I would have stayed in contact with some of them. So
Mhm.
I think, having a mentor, I think is an important thing. It doesn't really kind of matter where you're at in your career, just to have somebody to kind of talk through things with.
Yeah, no, I agree 100% with the, I guess, younger generation of our industry. That is something that I talk with them about a lot is mentors and mentorship.
Yeah.
Because any of the seasoned professionals in the industry that have been around for 30, 40 plus years, that's one thing they always mention too is when they started out, they had somebody there helping lead them in the right
Yeah.
direction, whether that's talking through stuff or just kind of teaching them a different side. Because for those, like you and myself who chose the college route, a lot of the stuff that you use in the industry aren't written in textbooks.
No, not at all. There was no concrete pipe class at Purdue. I can tell you that. There was hardly any classes about pipe, drainage, but not pipe. So yes, no, I concur with what you're saying. Exactly.
Yeah, so if you happen to be talking to students in high school, for instance, I know the conversation has shifted a lot. I know, especially in the last like 10 to 15 years when it comes to what kids are going to do after they graduate high school. So
Right.
um, the conversation has changed. It's not, college isn't like pushed so much
Right.
now as it was before. So skilled trades is something that's being discussed more and taught in high schools. So if you happen to be speaking to high school students and some kids were possibly considering choosing a career path in construction, whether that's going to college or going right into the industry, what would you tell them about the industry? What advice would you give them about joining the highway construction industry?
Yeah. I think what I would start off with is just painting the big picture, that if you really look back out at the industry as a whole, there's just so many different opportunities.
Mhm.
And the great thing about our industry is how every one of us, doesn't matter what business line you're in, you have to be trained in that particular field because we're so specialized in what we do. And to let those folks know, those kids know that, hey, look, you've got an opportunity to be trained. You're going to have a good paying job when you come out. You're going to have opportunities to grow, take on more responsibilities, more training, and then get a little bit more specialized and maybe lead a crew or manage a job site. And so I think it's real from a practical standpoint, building these jobs is the know-how of how to actually put the nuts and bolts together, lay the pipe, compact the dirt, do all the different things you've got to do. And, learning by doing for those kids coming out of school is very important. And it gives them an opportunity to grow. If they want to advance, they can. If they enjoy doing what they're doing, then that's fine too. But it's a good opportunity.
Yeah, no, that's what I also always tell kids too, and even other adults who aren't really familiar with our industry. But I always tell them if you choose the industry, you're not just choosing a job, you're choosing a career path. Highway construction is always going to be around because we're always going to need a bridge, we're always going to need a road, and all of that is eventually going to be needed to be repaired. So I appreciate you taking time out of your schedule to tell us all about Rinker Materials, what they do, but most importantly about your career path and how you got to where you are today with Rinker.
All right. Well, you're welcome, Julie, and thank you for spending time with me today. I appreciate it.